Before the warning, before the argument, before the map was reduced to a border problem. There was a river. There were mountains. There were markets. There were people making a life between stone, dust, flood, and sky. The Pakistan most outsiders know is often a narrow one. A country glimpsed through breaking news, security footage, and shorthand. A place described in tension, not in texture. But what if the frame is wrong? What if the story has been cropped too tightly? What if one of the most visually astonishing, historically layered, and culturally intelligent places in Asia has been hidden in plain sight? This is where it begins. Begin in the north, where the land stops negotiating, the roads tighten, the air thins, the horizon rises like architecture made by pressure. Pakistan holds some of the most dramatic mountain country on earth, where the Karakoram, the Himalaya, and the Hindu Kush approach each other and force human movement into narrow decisions. Here, settlement is never accidental. A village sits where water can be reached. A footpath survives because stone allows it. A bridge matters because winter will close every other option. Beauty is obvious. Practicality is everything. That is the first truth. Landscapes become meaningful only when people learn how to live inside them. A cliff is scenery to a visitor. To a shepherd, it is a route. To a trader, it is a risk calculation. To a family, it decides whether flour arrives before snowfall. In places like Gilgit-Baltistan, human action is not decorative against nature, it is precise. Terraces cut into slopes. Channels guide meltwater into small fields. Stone houses hold heat. Storage matters. Timing matters. A missed week can become a hard season. Move south and the logic changes. The mountains release their grip. The Indus takes over. This river system is not just a feature of Pakistan. It is the organizing fact. From glacial melt in the north to the delta near the Arabian Sea, the Indus binds together altitude and plain, pasture and state, memory and state. Its waters cross gorges, feed tributaries, enter reservoirs, spread into canals, and turn difficult ground into inhabited ground. The river gives scale to the country. It also gives consequence. Where the water reaches, agriculture follows. Where agriculture stabilizes, surplus appears. Where surplus appears, systems form. That sequence is old, very old. Long before Pakistan existed as a modern nation, the Indus Plain trained people to solve large problems together. Floods fertilized fields and threatened them. Storage had to be planned. Movement had to be coordinated. Measurement had to become reliable. Out of that pressure came one of the world's earliest urban civilizations. At sites like Mohenjo-daro and Harappa, settlement was no longer just shelter. It became design. Streets were laid out with order. Drainage was engineered. Brick dimensions were standardized. Weights and measures were used across distance. Sanitation was not an afterthought. It was built into the city. That matters because it changes how we read the landscape. Pakistan is not only beautiful because of what nature placed here. It is beautiful because generation after generation kept answering the same question with greater sophistication. How do you live well in a land of extremes? How do you turn floodplain into city, mountain pass into corridor, courtyard into climate control, garden into water management, caravan route into exchange. The most enduring beauty here is not untouched wilderness. It is human intelligence under pressure. You can still feel that intelligence in ordinary spaces. In a village lane where mud walls are angled for shade. In a courtyard where charpoys move with the sun. In a truck painted so intensely that even commerce refuses to be plain. In a Lahore street where food is prepared with the confidence of repetition. In a desert settlement where distance has taught restraint. The point is not that Pakistan is one thing. The point is that variety here is structural. Mountain ecology creates one kind of life. River plain, another. Coast, another. Plateau, another. The country does not repeat itself easily. Balochistan, wide and austere, teaches a different rhythm. The plateau spreads outward with long silences, harsh distances, and low margins for error. Survival there depends less on abundance than on reading scarcity correctly. Water sources determine routes. Animal movement determines timing. Settlement remains sparse because the environment insists on honesty. And yet even here, systems emerge. Quetta becomes a node. Trade cuts through hard terrain. Mining, transport, and tribal authority shape the social map. What seems empty to the untrained eye is usually full of rules. In Sindh, the pace shifts again. Heat presses lower. The river broadens the logic of life. Dates, wheat, cotton, fishing, river transport, shrine towns, and old urban centers all grow from the same underlying fact. Water organizes settlement, and settlement organizes culture. That is why the Indus is more than a river in this story. It is inheritance in motion. Its annual behavior once nourished cities and destroyed them. Even now, embankments, canals, dams, and flood controls remain part of the same ancient argument between flow and control. Pakistan did not escape geography. It learned administration because of it. Then there is Punjab. The name itself points to rivers, 5 of them. Fields open wider here. Population thickens. Cities multiply. Roads become denser. Agriculture scales upward. So does politics. This is where food security, labor movement, education, manufacturing, and state visibility all intensify. A canal is not only engineering, it is revenue. A harvest is not only food, it is stability. A rail line is not only transport, it is central power made visible. When you look at the plains of Pakistan, you are looking at landscape already translated into administration. And then there is the coast. Karachi stands where the inland logic meets the sea. That changes the story again. A river civilization becomes a maritime economy. Ports redraw priorities. Ships compress distance. Finance, migration, industry, and language all gather force in the same place. Karachi is noisy, improvised, unequal, inventive, and relentless. It can feel overwhelming, but its very scale says something important about Pakistan. This country is not frozen in heritage. It is also urban, mercantile, and unfinished. Its beauty is not only in peaks and ruins, it is also in speed, density, and human ambition. That complexity is easy to miss if news remains the only narrator. News favors rupture. Daily life favors continuity. A headline captures the blast, the election, the crisis meeting. It rarely captures what most Pakistanis are actually doing. Teaching children, repairing wiring, harvesting wheat, loading fruit, reciting poetry, managing shops, bargaining in bazaars, studying for exams, hosting relatives, trying to pay rent, trying to get ahead, The ordinary labor of society does not disappear because the camera points elsewhere. It only becomes less visible. And visibility matters. Because once a country is simplified, every detail inside it gets read incorrectly. A mountain becomes a threat zone instead of a watershed. A mosque becomes a symbol instead of a neighborhood landmark. A border road becomes a military image instead of a supply line serving villages. A crowded market becomes chaos instead of competence. Pakistan suffers from that distortion constantly. The problem is not that danger has never existed here. The problem is proportion. A partial truth has been allowed to act like the whole truth. Look longer, and a different order appears. Pakistan is one of those places where geography did not merely host history, it directed it. The famous passes through the Northwest did not just carry armies. They carried habits, languages, technologies, and styles. The Khyber Corridor linked the subcontinent with Central Asia and beyond. Trade does not move only goods. It moves taste. Stone carving changes. Religious art absorbs new influences. Coins shift. Dress shifts. Architecture learns new emphases. A frontier is never only defensive. It is also educational. This is where Gandhara enters the story. Across parts of what is now northern Pakistan, Buddhist thought, Hellenistic influence, local craftsmanship, and regional trade met and produced an art tradition of unusual refinement. The Buddha took on draped robes shaped by classical forms. Monasteries rose near routes of exchange. Sculpture became a record of contact. That matters because Pakistan's past is not culturally narrow. It is layered. Vedic memory, Buddhist heritage, Islamic scholarship, Persian influence, Turkic power, Sikh rule, British infrastructure, and regional vernacular traditions all exist in the same civilizational field. Pakistan makes more sense when you stop asking it to be singular. Lahore shows this better than almost anywhere. The city is not simply old. It is cumulative. A place where successive powers kept building, destroying, decorating, widening, and inheriting. The walled city compresses centuries into walkable form. Gates, mosques, havelis, bazaars, shrines, and courtyards hold the marks of different eras without losing the pulse of the present. Then the Mughal vision sharpens the scene. At Lahore Fort and the Shalimar Gardens, power is translated into stone, proportion, shade, water, and controlled movement. Gardens are not merely pretty here. They are political. They stage order. They turn empire into experience. They cool the air, guide the eye, and remind visitors that authority can be made to feel harmonious. That is a key transition in the story. At first, the land teaches survival. Then survival creates systems. Then systems seek legitimacy. And legitimacy expresses itself through design. A ruler does not only need soldiers. A ruler needs roads, taxes, records, granaries, walls, wells, and spaces that symbolize competence. Architecture becomes argument. Administration becomes visible in brick, canal, gate, and garden. By the middle of Pakistan's long history, beauty and bureaucracy are no longer separate categories. They reinforce each other. Rohtas Fort makes this point in stone. Built in the 16th century at a strategic site in Punjab, its massive walls, gateways, bastions, and internal water systems show a world thinking in military terms, but also in logistical ones. A fort this large is not just about battle. It is about supply, water storage, circulation, surveillance, labor coordination, regional command. Gunpowder had changed war. States had to adapt. So architecture thickened. Defenses widened. Visibility mattered. A wall became a statement about planning capacity. Behind grandeur stood bookkeeping. Behind the gate stood payroll. Behind the bastion stood administration. This is where the script deepens. Because beautiful countries are not innocent countries. They are organized countries. Or at least, they must try to be. Every field under irrigation implies ownership, dispute, and regulation. Every caravan route implies tolls, guards, and negotiation. Every major shrine implies endowment, management, and social hierarchy. Every city implies waste disposal, policing, storage, and taxation. When we romanticize landscape without institutions, we miss the real achievement. Pakistan's historical worlds were built by people who understood records as much as rivers. And records change power. Once measurement becomes standard, revenue becomes predictable. Once revenue becomes predictable, armies become sustainable. Once armies become sustainable, frontiers expand. Once frontiers expand, administration must travel farther than the ruler can see. That is where scribes matter. Accountants matter. Clerks matter. Intermediaries matter. The quiet rooms matter. Not only the parade grounds, not only the throne. Empires are held together less by spectacle than by paperwork that arrives on time. In the subcontinent, Muslim dynasties, then the Mughals, then later colonial institutions, each intensified this principle in different ways. Canals grew in significance. Roads linked centers to margins. Cities became provincial headquarters. Law formalized hierarchy, sometimes stabilizing life, sometimes hardening inequality. Markets expanded under protection and pressure at the same time. The same state that could commission a garden could also extract grain. The same road that carried trade could carry troops. Order always came with a cost. That too is part of beauty when seen honestly. It is never free of power. But large systems mean little unless we return to scale. So step inside a smaller scene. In a small house off a lane in Lahore, evening gathers in layers. A woman kneads dough with the speed of memory. A fan pushes warm air from one corner to another. A child recites homework near a metal trunk. Outside, a motorcycle passes. Somewhere farther off, the call to prayer thins into traffic. Dinner is not empire. It is timing. Flour, oil, onions, tea, electricity if it holds. And yet everything we have described still arrives here. Water systems, road systems, market systems, family systems, language carried across centuries, taste shaped by trade. A civilization survives because it keeps landing in rooms like this. Or go farther north. A porter adjusts his load before dawn on a stony track. The glacier ahead is blue in the fractures and gray at the edge. His work is brutally physical. But even here, beauty is not passive. It is tied to labor, to weather knowledge, to muscle memory, to generations who learned what the mountain permits and what it punishes. Tourists may describe wonder. Locals describe conditions. That difference matters. One is an emotion. The other is a science. This is why Pakistan often feels misunderstood by people who only consume it at a distance. They see the scale, but miss the maintenance. They see the monument, but miss the hands. They see the security state, but miss the social intelligence beneath it. They see religion as abstraction, but not as everyday rhythm, charity network, etiquette, and architecture. They see roads as hard lines on maps, not as patient answers to impossible terrain. And because they miss the maintenance, they miss the dignity embedded in ordinary competence. The country's cultural expression grows out of that competence. Listen to the music and you hear roots. Qawwali gathers devotion, poetry, repetition, and collective rise. Folk songs carry river, desert, migration, and longing. Languages shift from valley to valley and province to province, not as a weakness, but as evidence of a deep social mosaic. Urdu carries literary prestige and national reach. Punjabi, Sindhi, Pashto, Balochi, Saraiki, Burushaski, Rahui, Sheena, Balti, and many more carry locality, memory, humor, and worldview. A country with this many tongues does not think in one register. It hears itself in chorus. Even visual culture refuses flatness. Truck art turns transport into public imagination. Shrine architecture layers tile, calligraphy, geometry, and color into spaces of visitation and feeling. Textiles carry region through pattern. Jewelry reflects tribe and status. Woodwork speaks to climate and craft. Food maps migration on a plate. Rice, wheat, lentils, meat, spice, smoke, and hospitality become a social language anyone can read. In Pakistan, taste is rarely just taste. It is memory arranged for guests. You can trace the same blend of feeling and function through sacred space. Pakistan's shrines are not just religious destinations. They are social engines. They gather music, alms, memory, grief, petition, and local economy in one place. At a shrine in Sindh or Punjab, devotion is visible, but so is circulation. Vendors set up nearby. Families travel in groups. Poetry is recited. Food is distributed. A spiritual tradition becomes a public commons. This matters in a country repeatedly described only through ideological conflict. Lived religion here is often embodied, vernacular, rhythmic, and communal. It lives in thresholds, courtyards, songs, vows, processions, and shared meals. To understand Pakistan, you have to see faith not only as doctrine, but also as infrastructure. That infrastructure of meaning becomes especially clear in moments of transition. Think about partition. In 1947, Pakistan was created in a storm of hope, fear, migration, and catastrophic violence. Maps changed quickly. Lives changed faster. Trains arrived with survivors. Families crossed with what they could carry. Cities absorbed grief and ambition at the same time. Lahore lost and gained populations. Karachi swelled with new arrivals. Refugee neighborhoods became permanent districts. The new state did not begin in calm. It began in motion. And motion leaves marks. Accents shifted. Commercial networks were rebuilt. Memory hardened around departure and arrival. Modern Pakistan was born not only from an idea of homeland, but from the physical act of resettling millions of lives. That helps explain the country's emotional texture even now. There is patriotism here, certainly, but often it is threaded with migration memory. A grandparent from Amritsar. A family story from Delhi. A lost house, remembered by lane, not by address. A kitchen preserving a city no longer reachable in the same way. Nationhood in Pakistan was never entirely abstract. It entered through train stations, camps, legal files, property claims, and renamed streets. The state had to count, allocate, certify, and absorb at extraordinary speed. So bureaucracy intensified not as theory, but as necessity. Paper became identity. Records became belonging. Administration became emotionally charged. Then came another test. The separation of East Pakistan in 1971 forced the country to confront the limits of centralized power, military thinking, and uneven representation. This too belongs in the documentary frame. Not because the script should become a history lecture, but because the modern Pakistani state has been shaped as much by lessons in loss as by lessons in control. A nation that has experienced partition twice does not imagine unity casually. It worries about cohesion. It watches its margins. It debates who speaks for whom. That tension echoes through language policy, provincial identity, electoral struggle, and the recurring question of what a federation owes its people. Yet for all this, Pakistan's culture never stopped producing forms of confidence. Even in places marked by underfunding and inequality, the aspiration itself is striking. Books wrapped in brown paper, coaching centers in crowded neighborhoods, parents spending beyond comfort on school fees, students moving between Urdu, English, and regional languages as they learn how class, mobility, and opportunity are coded. The country's seriousness about learning is often hidden behind statistics, but walk through a city before exams and you feel it. Photocopy shops stay busy. Hostels stay lit. Hope acquires a timetable. Consider craft in the same way. A carved balcony in an old quarter. A hand-woven shawl in the north. Blue pottery. Ayrak. Mirror work. Embroidery from Thar. Metalwork in old bazaars. These are not museum leftovers. They are systems of knowledge carried through apprenticeship, repetition, and local demand. They survive because hands remember sequences even when economies change. These change. Areas in the Delta, deserts with adapted life, and migratory corridors that connect continents through bird movement. Again, variety is not incidental. It is geographic consequence. So is vulnerability. When habitat shrinks, when water quality changes, when heat intensifies, the damage is not limited to scenery. It reaches shepherding, fishing, crop cycles, and settlement itself. Conservation in Pakistan, therefore, cannot be reduced to saving animals alone. It is tied to how people continue living in old landscapes under new pressures. Even the famous roads of northern Pakistan carry this double meaning. For a traveler, the highway can feel cinematic. Cliffs, switchbacks, glacial water, apricot trees in bloom, villages suspended above rivers. For the communities alongside it, the road is also medicine access, school access, trade access, marriage access, emergency evacuation, and price stability. A closed road is a beautiful problem for a photograph. It is a hard problem for a household. That is why infrastructure here never stays abstract for long. It returns quickly to the body. The same is true in cities. Take Lahore after rain. The old brick darkens. Trees deepen in color. Food streets wake again after the heat lifts. Students gather. Workers head home. Vendors reset their trays. It is lovely. But rain also tests drainage, traffic discipline, electrical safety, municipal response. Urban beauty in Pakistan often arrives braided with administrative stress. What looks atmospheric in one frame is a governance challenge in the next. And still, people continue negotiating it with humor, complaint, adaptation, and astonishing patience. Or take Karachi at dawn. The port is already thinking globally. Boats return. Factories start. Commuters calculate routes before the full rush begins. Billboards advertise futures of comfort over roads that still need repair. The city can exhaust you. It can also sharpen your respect. So many systems overlap there that failure in one immediately exposes dependence in another. Still, no serious portrait can stop at admiration. A country shaped by rivers and mountains also inherits their dangers. The same Indus system that made dense settlement possible also creates recurring exposure to flood. The same glacial world that feeds agriculture also carries long-term climate risk. The same rapid urban growth that generates energy also strains housing, transport, water, and waste systems. The same strategic location that once enriched trade can also pull the state into conflict larger than itself. Pakistan's fragility is not separate from its beauty. It often emerges from the same source. You can see that in the floodplain. For centuries, people lived with the river's force. But modern population density raises the stakes. When embankments fail, when extreme monsoon water overwhelms infrastructure, when villages, roads, crops, and schools go under, disaster is not only natural, it becomes administrative. Who gets warned? Who gets rescued? Who gets compensated? Who rebuilds alone? A river can expose a state as quickly as it nourishes one. Political strain works the same way. Pakistan has carried coups, constitutional breaks, uneven civilian rule, regional grievance, debt pressure, security campaigns, and the long afterlife of wars shaped by foreign powers as well as domestic choices. None of that can be ignored. But even here, the deeper story is not constant rupture. It is endurance under repeated stress. Institutions bend. Society improvises. Families absorb the shock. Businesses reopen. Students keep studying. Weddings continue. Buses keep moving. The country rarely gets the luxury of simplicity. It keeps functioning anyway. That sentence matters. It keeps functioning anyway. Not perfectly, not fairly for everyone, not without anger, not without fatigue, but enough to remind us that headlines measure crisis better than continuity. A farmer replanting after flood is continuity. A nurse finishing a double shift during shortage is continuity. A shopkeeper reopening after unrest is continuity. A student memorizing physics while the power cuts in and out is continuity. History is often protected by people who will never appear in it. And from those people, legacy travels forward. The urban logic of the Indus civilization did not vanish when its cities declined. Ideas about organized settlement, storage, water control, craft specialization, and regional exchange remained part of the civilizational grammar of the region. Gandhara then showed how this land could absorb outside influence without losing local agency. Persianate courts, Islamic scholarship, and Central Asian dynasties added new administrative and artistic vocabularies. The Mughals amplified garden design, monumental architecture, and imperial coordination. Sikh rule reshaped urban power in Punjab. British rule overlaid railways, legal codification, census logic, and bureaucratic centralization. The modern Pakistani state inherited all of it. So when Pakistan looks at itself today, it is looking through several civilizations at once. An irrigation dispute can contain ancient geography and colonial paperwork in the same file. A city neighborhood can hold Mughal, Sikh, and British memory on one street. A family name can carry migration. A dish can carry empire. A language can carry several courts. A shrine can carry both spiritual intimacy and public history. That is why the country feels dense, even when the camera is still. There is almost always more present than first appears. And the influence does not stop at Pakistan's borders. The Indus world shaped South Asian urban beginnings. Gandharan art influenced Buddhist visual traditions far beyond the region. Mughal aesthetics shaped architecture, gardens, and taste across the subcontinent. Colonial systems built in Punjab and Sindh fed wider imperial economies. Pakistani labor, scholarship, cuisine, textiles, and music now circulate through the Gulf, Britain, North America, and beyond. The chain is not linear, but it is real. This land has not only received history, it has transmitted it. Which brings us back to the original problem. Why has so much of this been obscured? Partly because crisis is exportable. It travels fast. It confirms prejudice. It rewards shallow certainty. Beauty asks more of the viewer. Context asks patience. Contradiction asks maturity. To really see Pakistan, you have to tolerate more than one truth at once. Yes, it is politically burdened. Yes, it is institutionally uneven. Yes, it has known violence. And yes, it is also breathtaking, cultivated, erudite, funny, hospitable, inventive, and historically immense. These statements do not cancel each other. They complete each other. Look again at the north, not as an isolated postcard, as the water tower of a civilization. Look again at the Indus, not as a line on a map, as a teacher of scale. Look again at Lahore, not as nostalgia, as accumulated governance, artistry, and appetite. Look again at Karachi, not as overload, as proof that Pakistan still attracts movement. Look again at a painted truck, a classroom, a wheat field, a fort wall, a glacier path, a fishing boat in Sindh. The country is speaking in all of them. And maybe that is the deeper correction. Pakistan is more beautiful than the news allowed you to see, because beauty was never the opposite of difficulty here. It was built inside difficulty, in flood control, in courtyard design, in poetry under pressure, in trade through hard passes, in gardens laid over heat, in hospitality offered during shortage, in language preserved across empire, in endurance without applause. What endures is rarely accidental. They built with brick because mud would fail. They built with walls because weather and war were real. They built with canals because rainfall could not be trusted. They built with gardens because power wanted order and the body wanted relief. They built with stories because memory outlasts damage. Over time, those choices became inheritance, not just theirs, ours. We inherited the city from planners who worried about drainage. We inherited the route from traders who read mountain risk. We inherited the archive from scribes who believed records mattered. We inherited the courtyard from people who understood heat. We inherited the meal from migrations that layered flavor across centuries. We inherited the habit of carrying beauty into use, not keeping it separate from use. That may be Pakistan's most sophisticated lesson. A country is not what frightened outsiders say about it. A country is what its people keep making despite pressure. By that measure, Pakistan is not a broken image waiting for correction. It is a long civilizational argument still in motion. River against flood, state against distance, memory against erasure, daily life against simplification. And in that argument, something remarkable remains visible. Not perfection, not innocence. Something harder to build than both. Form. If you want more stories like this, subscribe. Sometimes the truest map of a country is drawn by what its people refused to stop building.